What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to continue my road to YCS Philly. I'm going to be talking about the cards you see in front of you. This is kind of like an opening hand, or a hand I'm going to be definitely discussing. I'm going to talk about card D and how to use that effectively in this deck. I'm going to talk about Lad as well. I'm going to talk about the Gores and Trag effect of this deck and MST. So they're kind of like common plays, I guess, but I just definitely want to go over them so people stop making big mistakes with this deck. And they are some big mistakes. So first, we're going to talk about Swap Frog, Sea Lancer, and Rodent Toad. Let's say you open these three cards. I don't want to stress enough how big an opening Sea Lancer play can be sometimes. If you have another frog, you are golden, and I would say go for it, especially if you're turn 1 and like your opponent doesn't have anything set. So the reason I want to go over this is simple. All right. So your opening move 100% is going to be discard Rodent Toad, special summon Swap Frog. Okay. And with Swap Frog, then if it's turn 1, you're going to go for this. You have to send Dupe Frog, or I would personally send Dupe Frog. This way you can replace your Swap Frog if anything happens. So now Swap Frog's on the field, right? And you send your Dupe Frog. You're going to banish Dupe Frog, special summon your Rodent Toad. Tribute that same Rodent Toad for Sea Lancer. Notice Swap Frog is still on the field. This is key. Almost every time you summon Sea Lancer, you want this on the field. You want your Swap Frog next to your Sea Lancer almost every single time. And here's why. If your opponent Veilers this, or Fiendish Chains this, it is now stuck there as a 1300 weak monster and it's going to die. However, if Swap Frog is next to your Sea Lancer, you can then bounce your Sea Lancer and leave your Swap Frog there for later. So now you keep your Sea Lancer, you're going to lose your Swap Frog, but you have a Dupe Frog banished. So therefore, the next time you tribute this Sea Lancer, you're going to get a Dupe Frog, and in turn probably get a Swap Frog when that dies, if you don't have another one or whatever. The reason that's okay is because, so now I bounce my Sea Lancer, next turn they kill my Swap Frog. My turn, banish the Swap Frog, special summon Rodent Toad, sack for Lancer. Now your Lancer has 2 equips, which is really scary. So that is why I'm stressing. If you're summoning Sea Lancer and you've set up with Swap Frog, do not, unless you know they have a Tarantula or read a Tarantula or something, do not leave that Swap Frog there. Do not bounce the Swap Frog, rather, to your hand and then summon Sea Lancer. Leave the Swap Frog there, summon your Sea Lancer, they Veiler, you bounce a Lancer, next turn you banish that same Swap Frog, and now you have 2 equips. It's a really common play that will happen to you, and I feel like nobody does it. I feel like everyone is like, Swap Frog, Swap Frog, Frog Frog, make all your grave fill, bounce the Swap Frog, summon Lancer, you get Veiler, now you need a salvage. You need to hope for a salvage, a Monster Reborn, or have another Lancer in your hand or something. Just avoid all of that mess in your head and make sure you do this play. Okay? Next I want to talk about card D. This card is really, really good in here, especially if you open it. Opening turn, card D is ridiculous. If you open both of these, it's turn 1. Like you're going first. You have both of these in your opening hand. If you have another frog, I would say 100% summon the card D, draw 2, and then end phase discard your frog. Next turn you can go Swap Frog plays for days, and you drew 2. If you just open those together, I would still almost always use the card D first. Tribute, because you're going to have this, and this is going to let you draw 2. So you're going to do a lot of deck thinning. A lot of people don't like it because they're like, if I have a Swap Frog, I want to summon the Swap Frog. And I say to that, no. Get the +1, and then do Swap Frog next. Because you don't know if you're going to draw a Fader, or a Trag, or a Gores, or a Lancer even. Like, get your +1 if you have it. There are times even late game where it's like, I know I'm in control, but God forbid something happens, I'm going to summon this card D next to this Lancer, tribute it off, draw 2, end my turn. They still have a Lancer to deal with. So that happens a lot too. So basically, if you have card D, almost always use it. Read the situation appropriately, but definitely use it. Next, Lad. The reason I want to talk about Lad is because of his revival effect. Whenever he is destroyed anywhere, It doesn't matter. He doesn't have to be on the field. Therefore, solemn warning doesn't matter. If they warning your lad, you get a revival. So that's what I want to say. With lad, drop it almost as soon as you can. As soon as you've got something useful in your graveyard, just lad. What are you gonna do? If you're gonna warning, I'm gonna get back that Gores. Like a lot of times, my opponent's turn, I will go Gores token. Right? Now they're worried. My turn. All right. Maybe I'll econ something with a token, whatever. But I almost always just go lad. Now you have to go minus to get rid of this, and as soon as you kill my lad, that Gores is coming back. You know, so you don't have to be kind of cautious. If you drop Gores, I'm gonna go lad next turn. A lot of times, attributing the token and the Gores, just so because you're gonna have to deal with Gores at some point anyway. Once you get rid of him, the Gores is coming back. So that's what I want to talk about. Lad, if there's a Trag in your graveyard, you got a bunch of cards in your hand. If there's a Sangan in your graveyard, even a Poison Draw Frog in your graveyard, I would just go lad. Deal with it. As soon as you get rid of this, I'm going to draw one, I'm going to search, I'm going to get that Gores, I'm going to get that Trag back, whatever you want, but here's a lad in your face. That's why he's so good, in my opinion, and that's why, you know, I summon him pretty quickly. First turn lad is devastating if you can do it to your opponent, so I want to make that very clear about lad. That's why we run him, that's why a lot of decks run him at 3, that's why I'm using him at 3. Next, again, I'm going quick because, like I said, I want to keep these videos under 10 minutes from now on, or 10 minutes, so 10 and a half. The Gores and Trag effect of our deck. We are running full Trag and Gores combo. These cards are like mind games almost. If it's turn 1, you drew crappy, you don't even have these guys in your hand, you want to bluff the hell out of your opponent. So a lot of times, maybe you'll have an MST, maybe you won't even have Spell and Trap. You could just be like, alright, I'm going to set. You know what, never mind, I'm not going to set. So like in your head, be like, set, and then take it back immediately. Be like, you know what, I'm not. This way they think, why are you not setting? You have a Gores. So I don't want to attack you directly. That'll buy you some time to draw some cards. You know, this deck is about stalling, it's about mind games, it's about knowing when to take damage and when to like drop the fader instead. It's a lot of calculation, stuff like that. So, you know, set that econ and then bounce back to set that salvage. No, I don't want. Like really struggle with it because it's like, am I going to be able to use this? You know, if it's if your opponent doesn't have anything set, you set this and then bounce it back. They're worried like that's an MST, but if I don't set something, maybe he drops Gores, maybe he doesn't. Is that a Trag? What's going on? Bluffs are very important in this deck. Especially stuff like that, like the whole I'm going to set this, no, just kidding, I'm not going to set it, I'm going to put it in my hand because I've got Gores, but I don't. So, these cards are very important for us. You know, they can, you know, a 3,000 attack Trag will almost always win you a game against like Samurais and stuff. You know, Gores can turn a game around where you're at 1,000 life points and your opponent's at like 5,500. So, it's very important to bluff these cards, in my opinion. So, Gores and Trag, use them to their full ability. And lastly, the reason I'm talking about MST is because most of our builds run 3. And that's because you want to get your plays off. You don't want to worry about a back row or something getting in your way. With all that being said, you have 3 of these. Don't waste them. There are plenty of traps out there that will mess you up. I really don't care about Solemn Warning. It's 2,000 life points. If you're going to warning my stuff, you're going to warning my stuff. Unless it's turn 1, I'm trying to go for a swap frog, you only have one set, I might blind MST. Otherwise, I would say 100% never blind MST with this deck. You have too much of a chance to go minus, whereas people are running a lot of chainable stuff, so you MST, they're going to compole something in, you know, one of your monsters, and then you go minus. What I would say is almost always, save your MSTs for Phoenix Change, Skill Drains, Cosmos, D-Fissures, and like I said, if you need to go for a big play and there's a card set and you're scared of it, MST it. Otherwise, never blind MST with this deck. We've got 3, you've got plenty, but you need to draw them. So if you draw one, hold on to it. You've got you have no idea how many times I go, set up my grave, drop Lancer. They flip Skill Drain, and you know, automatically assume I'm you know, kind of screwed. Go for their life points, take 1,000. Not even paying attention when I go chain MST. Keep this stuff in your hand. Don't set it. You know, you can go draw phase, stand my phase. MST, now you can bring the Treeborn out. You don't have to go Treeborn, MST, like, just get rid of the threat, then start your standby phase. You can activate this during your standby phase. You don't need to set it standby phase chain and now bring your Treeborn out. You can just do it straight from your hand. So don't worry about it. Don't blind MST. It's stupid. There's no point to it in our deck. Alright, so we're approaching the 10-minute mark, or a little after. So thanks for watching. Definitely keep in mind what I said. I think a lot of it's useful. I think a lot of it's not done enough. And this is why I think I've been so successful with this deck. Is because I constantly do this. I'm constantly thinking about this stuff. So take this for what you can. Thank you for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe. And, hopefully I'll see you in YCS Philly. There should be a part 4 coming up, and I'm not sure when it's on yet, but I'll have one more of these. Thanks.